Once upon a time in the heart of Lagos, there lived a man named Chief Obina S. He was not just rich, he was very rich. People called him the Cement King of Africa. His face was always in newspapers, smiling beside presidents and governors. His name opened doors. He lived in a big white mansion on Banana Island, the kind with golden gates, marble floors, and a fountain that danced in the middle of the compound. But even with all his money and power, Obina had one big problem he couldn't solve: his twin sons. Tobe and Toby were 6 years old and full of energy that never seemed to run out. They were the kind of children that people called a handful with a nervous laugh. But Obina's twins were not just playful or curious, they were wild. Wild in a way that made grown adults quit their jobs in the middle of the day. In the last 1 year, 12 nannies had come and gone, each one leaving with a promise never to return. The boys poured honey into one nanny's handbag. They put a live frog in another's food. One time, they locked a nanny in the guest bathroom for 5 hours while they watched cartoons and laughed. Another nanny left crying with her suitcase still open. Obina would come home from his business trips and find his house in chaos. Staff quitting, glass broken, pillows scattered. His wife, Chinello, would be pacing the living room in her silk robe, her makeup half done, shouting at the top of her voice, "It's your children, Obina. I told you to send them to boarding school." "They're 6 years old, Chinello," Obina would reply, loosening his tie with frustration. "They're just boys." "Boys? Boys?" Chinello would scream. "These ones are demons." That morning, the 13th nanny had just left. She ran out of the gate barefoot, hair scattered, tears on her face. Chinello stood in the middle of the living room holding one of her designer heels. "They put gum inside my shoe, Obina," she said, eyes wide with disbelief. "They put bubble gum inside my shoe." Obina sighed deeply, his face hard and quiet. He looked around the living room, toys everywhere, crayons on the white walls. Toby was trying to stuff a plantain chip inside the DVD player, while Toby laughed and clapped like it was a concert. Chinello grabbed her phone. "I'm calling the agency right now. We need another nanny, a professional this time, one who trained abroad, maybe from South Africa or Europe." Obina raised his hand. "No more agencies. We've tried the best money can buy. It's not working." "Then what do you suggest?" Chinello snapped. "Should we hire a pastor to deliver them?" Obina didn't answer. He walked out to the compound where his driver, Sunday, was washing the car. The sun was hot and the air smelled like soap and palm trees. Sunday straightened up when he saw his boss coming. "Good morning, sir." Obina nodded. "Sunday, let me ask you, do you know anyone at all, who can handle 2 wild twins?" Sunday blinked. "Handle them how, sir?" Obina looked tired. He rubbed his forehead. "I need someone who won't cry, who won't run away, someone firm, strong, patient." Sunday scratched his head. Then he smiled slowly. "Oga, I know one person like that." Obina looked up. "You do?" "She used to take care of my sister's children in Abba," Sunday said. 4 boys, strong boys. One of them once set fire to a curtain, but this woman tamed them, all of them." Obina raised his brow. "And she's a nanny?" Sunday hesitated. "Not really, sir. She's more like a teacher, a guardian. And she's strong, big, like muscular." Obina frowned. "A bodybuilder?" "No, sir, not like that," Sunday chuckled. "But she looks like she can lift a car if she wants." Obina folded his arms. "What's her name?" "Ngozi," Sunday replied. "Auntie Ngozi. That's what everyone calls her." Obina laughed, shaking his head. "So you want me to hire a female wrestler to raise my boys?" "I'm serious, sir," Sunday said. "Just talk to her. What do you have to lose?" Obina looked back at the house. Tobe and Toby were now running around naked with whipped cream on their heads. The chef was shouting behind them, holding a broom. Obina sighed. "Call her," he said. "Now." The next morning, the mansion was quieter than usual. Chinello stood by the window with a glass of orange juice, watching as a black Toyota Corolla pulled into the compound. Obina sat on the couch, flipping through the newspaper. The boys were upstairs with the chef, still asleep after staying up to watch cartoons past midnight. Then she stepped out of the car. Tall, broad-shouldered, dark skin that glowed under the sun, a blue polo shirt tucked into black trousers. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. She walked like someone who didn't rush for anything. Obina stood up slowly. "That must be her," he said. Chinello squinted. "That's the nanny? Are you sure she didn't come to fix the generator?" Sunday ran forward to greet her. "Auntie Ngozi, welcome." She nodded, then turned to Obina and Chinello. "Good morning, sir. Ma, I'm Ngozi." Obina extended his hand. "Welcome. I hear you're the miracle worker." Ngozi smiled faintly. "No, sir. I just don't fear children." Chinello folded her arms. "Have you worked with rich families before?" "I've worked with children before, Ma," Ngozi replied gently. Chinello didn't look convinced. "Our twins are not regular children." Ngozi looked around the compound. "No child is regular, Ma. They just need to be understood." Obina stepped in. "Let's not scare her away before she starts." Ngozi's eyes were already scanning the space. She noticed the messy shoe rack, the broken swing set, the cracked glass by the door. She didn't flinch. "I'd like to meet them," she said. When Tobe and Toby came down for breakfast, they met Ngozi sitting quietly in the dining room. She didn't smile too wide or talk too much, just watched them with calm eyes. "Who are you?" Toby asked, arms crossed. "I'm Ngozi," she said. "Your new nanny." "You'll run away like the others," Toby said, giggling. "We always win." Ngozi tilted her head. "Win? This is not a game." Toby grinned. "It is now." Without warning, he threw a spoon of cornflakes across the table. It hit Ngozi's shoulder and dropped to the floor. Ngozi didn't move. Toby tried to push the glass of water toward her side. Ngozi reached out calmly, caught it, and placed it back in the center. "No throwing," she said. The boys looked at each other. Toby stood on his chair and shouted, "Mummy, the new nanny is already annoying us." Ngozi stood up and slowly walked around the table. She came beside Tobe and placed her hand gently on his shoulder. "Let me tell you something," she said quietly. "I've met boys who climb gates, boys who steal pepper and rub it on people's eyes, boys who don't listen until someone listens to them first. You two, you're not bad. You're just loud." Toby blinked. "What does that mean?" "It means I'm not going anywhere," she said, standing straight. "So get comfortable." Later that night, Chinello sat in the bedroom, removing her earrings. "She's too calm," she said. "I don't like it." Obina chuckled. "You said you wanted someone who wouldn't scream." "I said I wanted someone professional," she snapped. "Not some female bouncer from ABBA." Obina yawned. "Let's see how long she lasts." Downstairs, Ngozi sat in the boys' room. The twins had finally fallen asleep. She pulled a small photo from her pocket and looked at it. A little boy, maybe 5 years old, smiling, his teeth wide, his eyes like hers. Ngozi touched the picture gently. "I'll do it right this time," she whispered. She placed the photo back into her pocket, stood up, and walked to the window. Outside, the mansion lights glowed in the dark. But deep in her heart, Ngozi knew. This job wasn't just about twins or tantrums. It was about healing, and she wasn't going to run. No matter what happened next. By sunrise, the Ease mansion was alive again. The housemaids were sweeping, the chef was clanging pots, and the gardener was whistling as he watered the flowers near the gate. A light breeze moved through the tall palm trees that lined the driveway. Birds sang softly, as if trying to warn the house that a new kind of morning had come. In the middle of all that quiet movement stood Ngozi, dressed in her clean blue polo and dark trousers. She had tied her hair neatly back and wore simple black shoes. She didn't carry much, just a small brown bag that looked too old for someone about to work in a mansion. Yet she looked like someone who had everything she needed inside her. The cook, a short man with a big belly named Mr. Felix, came out to greet her. "Good morning, madam," he said nervously. "You must be the new nanny." Ngozi smiled politely. "Good morning, sir. Yes, I am." Mr. Felix wiped his sweaty forehead. I hope you know what you are getting yourself into. Those twins are not ordinary children. They made the last nanny cry and hide inside the laundry room." Ngozi laughed lightly. "Don't worry, I've seen worse." The man raised his eyebrows. "You say that now. Let's see how long you'll last." She didn't reply. She only turned toward the main building, her calm eyes scanning everything. The shining marble tiles, the huge chandelier above the front door, the 2 golden lion statues by the steps. She walked slowly into the house. Her footsteps echoed softly against the polished floor. Inside, the house smelled like vanilla air freshener and fresh bread. The walls were white and spotless. Expensive paintings hung everywhere. It was a home that screamed wealth but felt cold, like beauty without warmth. From upstairs, loud footsteps came rushing down. "Mummy, where's my socks?" Tobe's voice boomed through the stairwell. "I'm not your mummy," Chinello shouted from her bedroom. "Ask your brother to help you." "I did. He said I should wear his own." Ngozi paused by the dining table. She could already feel the tension that lived in the air of this house. It wasn't the kind that came from poverty or hunger. It was the kind that came from too much distance between hearts. She sighed quietly, then began to set the breakfast table without being told. A few minutes later, Chinello came down, dressed in a silk robe and slippers that sparkled with tiny diamonds. She stopped when she saw Ngozi. Her lips pressed into a thin line. "So you're still here," Chinello said. "You didn't run during the night?" Ngozi smiled softly. "No, Ma. I'm still here." "Good," Chinello said sharply. "Because the boys wake up like a storm. They will try to test you. Do not encourage them. I don't want chaos this morning. I'm expecting guests by afternoon." Ngozi nodded. "I understand, Ma." Before Chinello could say more, the twins came running into the room, hair messy, half-dressed, full of mischief. "Mummy, Toby poured my milk." "No, he poured it himself." "You're a liar." "You're the liar." "Both of you, enough," Chinello shouted. "Ngozi, handle them. I have a meeting." The twins turned to face her like two tiny warriors facing a new enemy. "So you're the new nanny," Tobe said, crossing his arms. "You'll leave before lunch?" Toby added with a grin. Ngozi smiled calmly. "We'll see." The boys exchanged a glance, as if already planning something. Chinello picked up her car keys and whispered under her breath, "God help you," before walking out. The moment the door closed, the twins got to work. Tobe jumped onto the dining chair and shouted, "Breakfast is wartime," while Toby grabbed a spoon and banged it against the table like a drummer. Ngozi said nothing. She simply sat down opposite them and folded her arms. When Toby tried to throw a slice of bread, Ngozi's voice cut through the noise like a knife. "Don't!" The word was calm but carried a power the boys had never heard before. They froze for a second. Toby blinked. "What?" "Sit," she said quietly. "Eat." Something in her tone made them listen. Not fear, respect. Tobe sat down slowly. Toby followed, still frowning. They began to eat in silence. For a few minutes, the house was peaceful. Even Mr. Felix peeked through the kitchen door in surprise. Then, just as things seemed calm, Toby whispered to his brother, "Let's test her." Before Ngozi could react, Toby poured orange juice on the table and pushed the glass toward her. The juice spread fast, dripping onto the floor. Ngozi looked at it calmly, then at the boys. "Clean it," she said. The twins stared at her. "No," Toby said with a smirk. "That's your job." Ngozi stood up slowly and walked toward the sink. The boys exchanged proud smiles. But instead of grabbing a towel, Ngozi took 2 napkins and came back. She placed them on the table in front of the boys. "Then you won't eat until it's clean," she said. Tobe's smile faded. "You can't do that." "I can," she said quietly. "And I just did." Toby looked at her face. There was no anger there, no shouting, no fear, just calm strength. He picked up the napkin and began to wipe the juice slowly. When they finished, Ngozi said, "Good, now you may eat." The twins looked at her differently. They were not used to calm people winning battles. Later that morning, while the boys were in their playroom, Ngozi walked around the house to learn her new environment. Every room had something beautiful and expensive. Gold lamps, shiny mirrors, and glass doors. But the deeper she went, the quieter the house became. It was like every corner was holding its breath. She found a picture on the hallway wall, Obina, Chinello, and the twins, smiling on a beach. But she noticed something else. The twins were not really smiling. They were pretending. The sound of a car horn made her turn. Through the window, she saw Obina's black SUV pull into the compound. When he walked in, he looked tired but sharp, like a man who carried the whole world on his shoulders. His suit was perfectly ironed. His wristwatch sparkled. "Good afternoon, sir." Ngozi greeted. He nodded. Ngozi, right? Yes, sir. How's your first day going? She smiled. Peaceful, sir. He raised an eyebrow. Peaceful? Are we talking about the same twins? She chuckled. They just need to be busy, sir. Children with too much free time will find trouble. He nodded slowly. You sound confident. I like that. Thank you, sir. Just then, the twins ran in. Daddy! They shouted together, jumping on him. Obina smiled and carried one in each arm. How are my boys? Tobe said. Fine, Daddy. We have a new nanny. Toby added, she's big, like Hulk. Obina laughed loudly. Hulk, you say? Ngozi smiled from where she stood. I take that as a compliment. Obina winked. Then you'll need all that strength for these two. When the boys ran upstairs, Obina turned to her. I hope my wife hasn't made things difficult already. Ngozi shook her head. She loves her boys, sir. I understand her worry. Obina looked impressed. You're very calm. Most people in this house lose their patience after 10 minutes. Ngozi smiled faintly. I don't raise my voice unless I have to. Good, Orun, he said, because in this house, we could use a bit of calm. By noon, Ngozi began to set new rules. The twins had to nap by 1 o'clock, eat lunch by 2, and play outside by 4. It sounded simple, but to the boys it felt like prison. Tobe complained first. Why do we have to nap? We're not babies, Ngozi replied. Even soldiers rest before battle. Toby groaned. But we're not soldiers. Ngozi looked at him. Not yet. They blinked, unsure what to say. By 1:10, they were asleep. When Chinello came home later and found the twins napping quietly, she gasped. What did you do to them? Ngozi smiled. Nothing, Ma. Just routine. Chinello walked closer to look at her sons, sleeping peacefully under their blue blanket. It almost didn't feel real. You mean they slept on their own? Yes. Ma. Chinello folded her arms. Maybe it's luck. Wait till tomorrow. Ngozi said nothing. She only nodded. That evening, Obina called everyone to dinner. The table was long, filled with jollof rice, grilled chicken, and salad. Ngozi stood at the corner, ready to serve the boys if needed. Chinello looked perfect as usual, her hair shining, her nails painted. Obina wore a simple shirt, smiling as he talked about business. For once, the twins sat quietly eating. Toby, Obina said, did you say thank you to your nanny? Toby looked up shyly. Thank you, Auntie Ngozi. Ngozi smiled warmly. You're welcome. Chinello rolled her eyes but said nothing. Then Toby, curious, looked at Ngozi's wrist. Auntie, what's that tattoo? The table went silent. Ngozi's eyes dropped to her wrist, where a small black mark peeked from under her sleeve. It's a memory, she said softly. What kind of memory? Toby asked. Ngozi smiled faintly. A soldier's memory, from a time when I had to protect people. Obina looked at her closely. You were in the army? Yes, sir, she said. A long time ago. Chinello stared in shock. A soldier? And you didn't tell us? I didn't think it mattered, Ngozi replied calmly. I'm here to care for your children, not to talk about my past. The boy stared at her wide-eyed. Wow, so you fought bad guys? Toby asked. Ngozi laughed softly. Something like that. Obina leaned back, still studying her. Interesting. No wonder you're not afraid of anything. I've learned that fear doesn't solve much, she said. Chinello didn't speak again for the rest of dinner. After the meal, when everyone went upstairs, Obina sat alone in the living room with Sunday, his driver. Sunday, he said quietly. Who exactly is this Ngozi? Where did you find her? Sunday hesitated. Sir, she's a good woman. Everyone in Aba knows her. She used to be in the army, but she left after something sad happened. Obina frowned. What happened? Her son died, sir. Bomb blast in Kaduna. After that, she came back home and started helping children who lost parents too. Obina sat quietly for a moment, his eyes fixed on nothing. She's been through pain, he said finally. Yes, sir, Sunday replied, but she doesn't show it. She's strong. Obina nodded slowly. That explains a lot. Upstairs, the twins were in bed. Ngozi sat on the edge of the bed, reading them a story from a picture book. Her voice was soft, her accent warm and slow. and the lion protected the small animals, not because he wanted to be king, but because he knew strength means nothing if you don't use it to help others. Tobe's eyes fluttered sleepily. Auntie, are you like the lion? Ngozi smiled sadly. Maybe once, but now I'm just someone who teaches lions how to roar. Tobe yawned. We like you, Auntie Ngozi. She brushed their hair gently. Sleep, my boys. Tomorrow will be better. As their breathing slowed, she stood quietly and walked to the window. The night air was cool. Somewhere far away, she heard the sound of cars passing, the hum of the city she was now part of. She pulled the small photo from her pocket again, the same one from the night before. The face of her late son smiled up at her. I'm trying, Chuka, she whispered. I'm really trying. She wiped her eyes quickly and tucked the photo back. Downstairs, Obina walked past the twins' room and saw her silhouette against the window. He paused quietly at the door. For the first time in years, he felt peace in his home. He whispered to himself, maybe this time, maybe she's the one who will stay. Ngozi didn't hear him. She was still staring at the night sky, her mind far away but her heart already beginning to heal. And though she didn't know it yet, her arrival had already started to change everything in that mansion, one quiet heartbeat at a time. The next morning came quietly, but it did not take long before trouble began to grow inside the East mansion. From the outside, the house looked peaceful. The big white walls, the trimmed flowers, the sound of birds singing. But inside, two little minds were planning war. Upstairs, Tobe and Toby sat cross-legged on their bed, whispering like secret agents. Toby had a pencil and a piece of paper, drawing something that looked like a battle map. Toby was holding a packet of pepper he had stolen from the kitchen the night before. Okay, Toby said, his eyes serious. We need a plan. This nanny thinks she's smart, but we'll show her who really rules this house. Toby nodded eagerly. Yes, Operation Make Her Run Away begins today. They both laughed quietly. What should we do first? Tobe asked. Step 1, Toby said, pretending to be a general. We make her tea. Only this time, we add pepper. Tobe's mouth curved into a grin. Perfect. Step 2, Toby continued. We hide her shoes so she can't go out. In step 3, he paused dramatically. We tie her bedsheet to the ceiling fan. She'll never find it. The two boys burst into laughter, their small shoulders shaking. Downstairs, Ngozi was already awake. She had been up since dawn, cleaning and arranging things quietly. She believed every job, no matter how small, should be done with respect. Her steps were slow, her mind focused. The smell of fried plantain filled the kitchen, and the sound of her humming floated through the air. When she finished preparing breakfast, she set the table neatly and called out, Toby, Toby, breakfast! There was no answer. She called again, her voice firm but calm. Boys, come and eat before your food gets cold. Still nothing. Ngozi sighed and walked upstairs. As she reached the twins' room, she could hear giggling. The door was half open. She pushed it gently and saw them whispering over something on the floor. What are you two planning? She asked. Both boys jumped up, trying to hide the paper behind their backs. Nothing, they said together. Ngozi crossed her arms. Nothing? Are you sure? Toby nodded quickly. Yes, Auntie. We were just, praying. She raised an eyebrow. Praying with pepper in your hand? Toby's eyes widened. You saw that? I see everything, she said, fighting back a small smile. The boys looked at each other. Toby dropped the pepper on the bed and whispered, Plan failed. Ngozi sat on the edge of the bed and looked at them gently. Listen to me. I don't mind if you test me, but I won't fight you. I'll only teach you. Toby frowned. Teach us what? To be better than this, she said softly. To be strong, but kind. Toby looked confused. Why do you care? Ngozi smiled. Because someone once cared for me when I didn't deserve it. The boys said nothing. Ngozi stood up and clapped her hands. Now go wash your faces and come downstairs. Breakfast is waiting. As soon as she left, Tobe whispered, She's too calm. We'll need a bigger plan. Toby nodded. She's tough, but everyone breaks. By the time Ngozi returned to the dining table, the twins were seated. They behaved so politely that even the chef, Mr. Felix, nearly dropped a plate in shock. They said thank you, and please. They ate quietly, but under the table they were exchanging secret looks. Ngozi noticed. She just didn't say anything yet. When she took her first sip of tea, both boys froze. They were waiting for her to cough, to scream, to drop the cup. But Ngozi simply swallowed, smiled, and continued eating. Toby whispered to his brother, "Did we put enough pepper?" Toby nodded. "Yes, I put a lot." They stared at Ngozi, expecting her face to change. Ngozi looked up, pretending not to notice their eyes on her. She calmly lifted another spoonful of rice. "You two are very quiet today," she said. "That's good. A quiet morning is a peaceful morning." Tobe squirmed in his chair. "You're not, feeling hot?" Ngozi smiled. "Hot? The weather is nice. Why?" Toby bit his lip. "No reason." When she finished eating, she stood and collected their plates. "Next time," she said softly, "use less pepper. You'll waste good spice." Both boys froze. "How did you know?" Tobe asked. Ngozi leaned down and whispered, "Because I could smell it before I even sat down." She smiled, straightened up, and walked away. The twins stared at each other. "She's a witch," Toby whispered. "No," Toby said. "She's something else." Later that afternoon, the twins moved on to step 2 of their plan. They sneaked into Ngozi's room while she was folding laundry in the backyard. Her room was small but clean, neatly arranged with her clothes folded, her shoes by the wall, and a small photo frame on the table. "What's that?" Toby asked, pointing at the photo. "Shh," Toby whispered. "Don't touch anything. We're just here for the shoes." Toby picked up the photo anyway. It was a picture of Ngozi and a small boy. The boy had bright eyes and a big smile. "She has a son," Toby said quietly. "Put it back," Toby said quickly, "before she catches us." Toby sighed and placed it down. Then they grabbed her shoes and ran upstairs laughing. They hid one pair behind the washing machine and threw the other under their bed. When Ngozi returned to her room, she noticed immediately. She didn't get angry. She simply sat on her bed, crossed her arms, and smiled to herself. She said softly. "So that's how they want to play." She went to the twins' room and knocked gently. No answer. She opened the door and found them pretending to be asleep. "Good afternoon, generals," she said. "Nice nap?" They both opened one eye. "We're sleeping," Tobe mumbled. "Oh, I can see that," she said, walking in. "Maybe while you were sleeping, my shoes went for a walk." Toby sat up. "What shoes?" Ngozi smiled. "The black ones that were under my bed." The boys shook their heads innocently. She looked at them carefully. "All right, no problem. But if I find them, you both will clean the living room today. Deal?" They both grinned. "Deal!" 5 minutes later, Ngozi lifted their blanket, and there were her shoes, sitting proudly under the bed. She crossed her arms. "That was easy," the twins gasped. "How did you know?" She laughed. "Because boys always hide things where they sleep. It's a habit." They groaned loudly. "You're no fun," Ngozi smiled. "Fun doesn't mean foolish. Come on, living room time." By evening, the boys had finished cleaning the living room, with Ngozi watching like a coach. She didn't shout when they complained or got lazy. She simply told them stories while they worked. "When I was in the army," she said, "we had to clean our camp every morning before breakfast. Not because it was dirty, but because discipline keeps your mind sharp." Toby looked up. "What's discipline?" "Doing the right thing even when you don't feel like it," she said. "It makes you stronger inside." Toby wrinkled his nose. "That sounds hard." Ngozi smiled. "Hard things build strong people." When they finished, she clapped her hands. "Good job. Now go wash your hands and come for dinner." They ran off laughing, the war slowly turning into something else. Respect. Later that night, Obinna came home early. The house was quiet again, too quiet. He stepped into the living room and looked around. Everything was neat. No broken vases, no crayons on the walls. "Hello?" he called. Ngozi appeared from the hallway. "Good evening, sir. Welcome." "Evening," he said. "Where are my boys?" "Asleep," she said. He blinked. "Asleep? Before 8? She nodded. "Yes, sir. They had a long day." Obinna laughed softly. "Ngozi, you're performing miracles." She smiled. "Not miracles, sir. Just patience." Obinna shook his head in amazement. "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." He went upstairs to check for himself. The twins were truly asleep, their faces calm, their small chests rising and falling slowly. For the first time in months, Obina felt a deep sense of peace. He whispered a quiet prayer of thanks and left their room quietly. But the next morning, Chinelo was not happy. She had just returned from her friend's party and was still upset that the twins no longer came running to her every time she entered the room. Instead, they followed Ngozi everywhere like baby chicks. At breakfast, she noticed Toby sitting next to Ngozi, giggling as they shared a joke. "What are you two laughing about?" she asked sharply. "Nothing, Mummy," Toby said. Ngozi smiled politely. "We were just talking about how he helped Mr. Felix set the table." Chinelo frowned. "Set the table? Isn't that the maid's job?" Ngozi answered gently. "He wanted to learn, Mom. It's good for children to help sometimes." Chinelo's tone turned cold. "You seem to be teaching them too much." Ngozi lowered her eyes. "Only what will help them grow." After breakfast, when the twins went out to play, Chinelo cornered Obina in the hallway. "I don't like this, Nanny," she said quickly. "The boys are becoming too close to her. They should be learning from me, not her." Obina sighed. "Chinelo, the children are finally calm. You should be happy." "I am not happy," she snapped. "They listen to her more than me. Do you know this morning, Toby told me, Auntie Ngozi says we must clean after eating? What kind of nonsense is that?" Obina rubbed his forehead. "That's good training. She's doing her job." Chinelo folded her arms. "We'll see how long that calmness lasts." That evening, while Ngozi sat outside under the mango tree, watching the twins ride their bicycles, Obina came to sit beside her. "You've done something strange to this house," he said. "It's like peace finally decided to live here." Ngozi chuckled. "Children are not difficult, sir. They only need someone to understand their world." Obina looked thoughtful. "I don't think anyone has ever understood them before." Ngozi watched the twins laughing together. "They just needed attention, not gifts, not new toys, just time." He nodded slowly. "Maybe you should write a book." She laughed. "I don't know about that. I'm just happy they're learning." As the twins raced past them, shouting happily, the sunlight touched Ngozi's face. Her calm smile looked peaceful, but deep inside, something heavy still lived there, a quiet ache she carried from her past. When the twins hugged her goodnight later, she looked at them and saw flashes of her son in their eyes. The same curiosity, the same energy, the same innocence. She whispered softly as they ran off to bed. "Stay good, my boys. Stay whole." Later that night, as the house fell silent, Ngozi sat alone by her window. The moonlight touched her scarred arm as she traced the mark with her fingers. It reminded her of days when she wore a soldier's uniform, when life was louder and harder, when she had something precious to protect. Now she was protecting something again. But this time, it wasn't a battlefield. It was a home. Downstairs, Obina passed by the sitting room and saw her shadow through the window. He paused quietly and whispered to himself, "Who are you, really?" "Ngozi." But upstairs in her room, Ngozi wasn't thinking about who she was. She was thinking about what she had promised herself, that she would never fail another child again. And for the first time since she stepped into the Ease mansion, she smiled with peace. Because deep down, she knew something the family didn't know yet. The war with the twins was ending, but the real battle of healing their hearts was just beginning. The morning sun touched the tall white mansion gently, and birds perched on the gates like they were watching a story unfold. The Ease household was quiet, but it was not the same kind of silence that used to hang heavy like a burden. It was now a calm, warm kind of silence, the kind that made the maids whisper to one another. Ever since that new nanny came, peace entered this house. In the kitchen, Ngozi was making breakfast while humming a soft tune. Her sleeves were rolled up, and steam floated from the pot as she stirred. The smell of fried eggs and toasted bread filled the air. She turned when she heard light footsteps behind her. It was Toby, still in his pajamas, rubbing his eyes. "You're up early," she said, smiling. "I had a dream," he mumbled, sitting on a stool. "Good dream or bad dream?" He thought for a moment. "Good one. I was a soldier like you." Ngozi paused, surprised. "A soldier like me?" He nodded. "Yes, you said soldiers protect people, so I was protecting my brother." Her smile softened. "That's a good dream, Toby." Always protect what you love. Tobe soon joined them, dragging his blanket along the floor. Auntie Ngozi, I want tea. She poured him some. Say please. He grinned. Please. When both boys began to eat, the door opened and Chinelo walked in, her phone pressed to her ear. Her robe shimmered in the morning light. She was talking fast, her voice sharp. Yes, I'll be at the meeting by 10. No, make sure the decorator uses white roses, not pink. Pink is cheap. She ended the call and turned to see the twins sitting quietly. For a moment she blinked. They were eating properly. No food on the floor, no shouting, no spilled juice. What's going on here? She asked, suspicious. Ngozi looked up politely. Good morning, Ma. They're just having breakfast. Chinelo frowned. Just like that? Yes, Ma, Ngozi said simply. Toby smiled. Mummy, we said grace before eating. Chinelo stared at them like she had just seen magic. You prayed? Yes, Toby said proudly. Auntie Ngozi taught us. Chinelo looked at Ngozi. I see you're turning them into saints. Ngozi smiled quietly. Just teaching them good habits, Ma. Chinelo didn't reply. She picked up her handbag and left without saying another word. As soon as the door closed, the twins looked at Ngozi. She's always angry, Toby said. Ngozi sighed softly. Your mummy loves you in her own way. Sometimes love sounds like noise. Toby tilted his head. Like shouting? She smiled. Exactly. But one day, you'll understand her better. The boys looked confused but nodded anyway. Later that day, Ngozi took the twins outside to play. The compound was wide and bright, with trimmed green grass and tall palm trees swaying in the breeze. She placed 2 small buckets of water beside them. What's that for? Toby asked. Training, she said. We're going to learn teamwork. Toby groaned. But I don't want to work. I want to play football. Ngozi smiled. This is football for the mind. You'll see. She pointed to a row of potted flowers by the fence. You see those flowers? They need water. If you work together and finish watering them before I finish counting to 100, I'll make you pancakes for lunch. The twins' eyes lit up. Pancakes? Yes, but if you argue or waste time, no pancakes. Tobe grabbed one bucket. Let's do this. Toby grabbed the other. Wait for me. They ran off laughing. Ngozi began to count slowly, her voice calm. As she watched them work together, she smiled quietly to herself. They spilled some water. They argued. They shouted. But they didn't give up. When they finally finished, she clapped her hands. Well done, soldiers, she said. You passed the test. Both boys laughed and jumped. Pancakes, they shouted. That afternoon, the smell of pancakes filled the air, and their laughter echoed through the house. When Obina came home that evening, the sound of laughter met him at the door. He was so used to returning to tension that he paused for a moment, confused. He stepped into the living room and saw his sons dancing in front of Ngozi, who was clapping and singing along to a children's song. Obina's mouth dropped open. Are these my children? Ngozi laughed. Yes, sir, the same ones. He shook his head, smiling. Unbelievable. The twins ran to him. Daddy, we watered flowers. We cleaned the garden. We ate pancakes. Pancakes? Obina laughed. That's a lot of achievements for one day. He looked at Ngozi. You've done wonders, Ngozi. Even my business partners can't follow instructions this well. Ngozi smiled. Children only follow those they trust, sir. Her words made him pause. He looked at her, thoughtful. You have a way with them. I've never seen anything like it. They remind me of my son, she said quietly. Boys need firm hands and kind hearts. He nodded slowly. You're right. I've been too busy chasing money. I forgot to chase peace. She smiled softly but said nothing. By the end of the week, the twins had become completely different children. They woke up early, brushed their teeth without being told, and even said good morning to the house staff. The maids couldn't stop talking about it. If this Ngozi woman leaves, the peace will go with her, one said. God sent her to this family. But not everyone was happy. Chinelo began to feel left out. One evening, she returned from a spa appointment and found the twins sitting on Ngozi's lap, listening to her tell a story about courage. And when the lion saw the hunter coming, he didn't run. He stood tall and faced his fear, Ngozi said, her voice calm and strong. Tobe's eyes were wide. Then what happened? The lion won, she said with a smile. Chinelo stood at the door, arms crossed. I see you've turned my children into jungle storytellers. Ngozi stood up quickly. Good evening, Ma. Chinelo looked at the boys. Go upstairs, now. The twins looked at each other. But Mummy, now. They ran upstairs silently. Chinelo turned to Ngozi, her eyes cold. Don't overstep your role. You're here to work, not to raise my children like they're yours. Ngozi lowered her head respectfully. I'm sorry, Ma. I only tell them stories to help them learn. They don't need to learn from you, Chinelo snapped. They have parents. Yes, Ma, Ngozi said softly. Chinelo glared for a moment longer before walking away, her heels clicking hard against the floor. When she was gone, Ngozi sighed deeply and sat back down. The warmth she felt moments ago slowly faded. Upstairs, the twins sat on the stairs watching. Toby whispered, Mummy shouted at Auntie Ngozi. Toby frowned. But she didn't do anything wrong. Toby nodded. Tomorrow, we'll make her happy again. The next day, the twins woke up early and ran to the garden with 2 small buckets. They plucked flowers, red, yellow, and white, and carried them inside, arranging them clumsily on Ngozi's bedside table. When she entered her room and saw them, she gasped. Who did this? We did, Toby shouted proudly. It's for you. Why? She asked, touched. Toby said, because you looked sad last night. We don't like when you're sad. Her eyes softened. She crouched down and pulled them into a hug. Thank you, my boys. You made my heart smile. She held them close, fighting back tears. At that moment, Chinelo passed by the door and saw them hugging. For some reason, the sight made her chest tighten. She walked away quickly, her heels echoing down the corridor. That evening, Obena invited Ngozi to have dinner with the family for the first time. The table was long, filled with steaming jollof rice, grilled chicken, and fresh fruit. When Ngozi entered, she hesitated. Sir, I'm fine to eat later, Obena interrupted. Nonsense. You're part of this home now. Sit. The twins cheered. Yay! Auntie Ngozi is eating with us. Chinelo forced a smile and picked up her fork. They began to eat. The boys chattered happily about their day. Obena laughed more than he had in months. But halfway through the meal, Toby suddenly asked, Auntie Ngozi, why do you have that tattoo on your hand? The room fell silent. Chinelo looked up sharply. Toby, that's rude. It's okay, Ma, Ngozi said softly. She looked at the mark on her wrist and smiled faintly. It's from a long time ago. What does it mean? Toby asked curiously. It reminds me that I once protected people who couldn't protect themselves, she said. Obena looked at her. You were in the army, weren't you? She nodded slowly. Yes, sir. I was a soldier. The twins gasped. A real soldier? Yes, she said quietly. A real one. Chinelo's eyes widened. And you didn't tell us that before we hired you? Ngozi shook her head. I didn't think it mattered, Ma. I left that life behind. Obena leaned forward. Why did you leave? Ngozi hesitated, then said softly, because I lost something precious. The twins watched her closely. Did you lose your gun? She smiled sadly. No, I lost someone I love very much. Chinelo frowned but said nothing. Obena lowered his eyes respectfully. I'm sorry, Ngozi. She nodded, forcing a small smile. It's okay, sir. Life moves forward. Dinner continued quietly after that, the mood gentler than before. When it ended, the twins hugged her goodnight before running upstairs. Obena lingered at the table, still thinking about her words. Ngozi, he said, thank you for everything you've done. My children are changing because of you. I only gave them what they were missing, sir, she said softly. And what's that? Time, she replied. Time and love. He nodded slowly. You're right. When she went upstairs, Chinelo sat quietly, her fork frozen above her plate. Her eyes were distant. Obena turned to her. What is it? She forced a smile. Nothing. I'm just thinking. But in truth, she wasn't just thinking. She was worried. Ngozi was becoming part of her family, and Chinelo didn't know how to handle that feeling. Later that night, when everyone had gone to bed, Obena sat on the balcony with Sunday, his driver. Sunday, he said, I found out Ngozi was a soldier. Sunday nodded. Yes, sir. She told me once. She left the army after her son died. Obina's face softened. Her son? Yes, sir. He was 5. Bomb blast in Kaduna. She came home and started caring for other children to heal. Obina sat back, silent for a long moment. Then he said quietly, that explains her strength. She carries pain, but she uses it to help others. Sunday nodded. She's not just strong, sir. She's brave. Obina looked up at the night sky. She's more than we thought. In her room, Ngozi sat by the window, staring at the stars. The twins' laughter still echoed faintly in her mind. For the first time in years, she felt her heart soften again. She touched the small photo of her late son and whispered, I'm still protecting children, Chuka. Just like I promised. Her eyes filled with quiet tears, but her lips curved into a peaceful smile. And somewhere down the hall, 2 little boys were dreaming of lions, soldiers, and pancakes. From that night onward, the bond in the Ease mansion only grew stronger. The twins followed Ngozi everywhere, during breakfast, during play, even when she prayed. Obina watched them proudly, his heart lighter every day. But Chinelo watched too, her heart caught between jealousy and guilt. She wanted to be close to her boys again, but she didn't know how to reach them anymore. The house that once felt like a battlefield was now full of laughter. But beneath that laughter, something was slowly building. A quiet storm of emotions waiting for the right moment to break. And none of them knew it yet. But that moment was coming sooner than they thought. The morning started like any other. Birds sang on the windowsills. The gardener watered the flowers. And inside the Ease mansion, laughter echoed down the halls. Ngozi was in the kitchen, flipping pancakes. Toby was sitting on the counter, kicking his legs, while Toby counted how many flips she could do without breaking one. 3 in a row, Toby cheered. Ngozi smiled. Next one, I want a prize. Toby giggled. What prize? Ngozi pointed at her cheek. 1 kiss. He leaned forward and pecked her cheek. Just then, Obina stepped into the kitchen, wearing a clean white shirt and holding his car keys. Looks like my kitchen has been taken over. Ngozi wiped her hands. Good morning, sir. Morning, Obina replied. These 2 don't give you any rest, do they? I like it this way, she said. They keep my heart busy. Toby grinned. We're her soldiers. Obina chuckled and shook his head. Well, soldiers or not, you boys are coming with me today. The boys looked up quickly. Where are we going? Toby asked. I have a meeting at the new estate in Asha, Obina said. There's a small amusement park near the site. I figured we could go there after the meeting. The twins jumped up. Yes, park. Ngozi looked unsure. Are they safe going there with so much crowd? Obina waved his hand. I'll take Sunday and 2 security men. The boys need to see the outside world sometimes. Besides, they'll be with me. Ngozi nodded slowly. All right, sir. I'll pack snacks. No need. I already told the cook, he said. We'll leave in 10 minutes. Ngozi crouched down in front of the boys. Promise me you'll behave. Toby placed a finger across his chest. Soldier's promise. Tobe nodded. We'll protect Daddy. Obina laughed. I'm the one protecting you. Ngozi watched them walk out of the house and felt her chest tighten a little. Something didn't feel right, but she told herself it was just worry. She stood outside as the black SUV rolled out of the compound, the twins waving through the window until the car turned the corner. She went back inside, but the house suddenly felt too quiet. The roads to Aya were busy, as usual. Obina sat in the front seat beside Sunday, while the twins played with toy cars in the back seat. Behind them, the second security vehicle followed closely. Sir, Sunday said after a while, should we go straight to the park or wait until after the meeting? Obina looked back at the twins. Let's stop at the estate first. Let me get the boring part done. Yes, sir. As they pulled into the construction site, the workers on the ground stood straight and greeted Obina with respect. He waved and stepped out of the car. One guard remained in the front seat. The other stood watch beside the SUV. Stay in the car, Obina said to the twins. It's dusty out here. Okay, Daddy, Tobe replied. Sunday turned to the boys. 10 minutes, then we go play. Agreed? Agreed, they shouted. But 10 minutes became 15, and then 20. The boys started getting restless. The windows were half open. The air was hot. Can we get down and stretch? Toby asked the guard. The man looked around. Just stay close. The twins stepped out of the SUV and walked a few steps away. Just then, a white Toyota Corolla pulled up quietly beside the car. The security guard turned. "Who's that?" Before he could say another word, the back door of the white car flew open. Two men wearing caps and dark glasses jumped out fast. One grabbed Tobe, the other grabbed Toby. "Hey!" the guard shouted, reaching for his gun. He was too slow. One of the men pulled a pistol and aimed it at the guard's chest. "Don't move!" The other man shoved the boys into the back seat and slammed the door. The white car sped off. Everything happened in under 30 seconds. By the time Obinna came running back after hearing the shout, the guard was frozen in place, his hands still raised. "They took them," the man stammered. "They took the boys." Obinna's face went blank. "What?" Sunday ran forward. "What do you mean they took them? They came out of nowhere. They had a gun. I couldn't..." Obinna grabbed the man's shirt. "You let someone take my sons?" His voice cracked. His hands trembled. His knees gave way. He dropped to the ground, his chest rising and falling like he couldn't breathe. "My boys!" Sunday took out his phone. "We need to call Madam and the police, now." Obinna grabbed his phone instead. "No," he said quickly. "Call Ngozi." Back at the mansion, Ngozi had just finished arranging the laundry when her phone rang. She saw Obinna's name and picked up instantly. "Sir?" His voice was shaking. "Ngozi, they took the boys." Everything around her paused. "Sir? What?" "They took them. Kidnappers. They grabbed them and drove off. We're on the way to the station." Ngozi didn't wait to hear more. She grabbed her bag, ran down the stairs, and shouted at the top of her lungs, "Sunday!" The gardener jumped. "Auntie, what's wrong? I need the car, now!" Ngozi didn't waste time. She arrived at the police station in less than 30 minutes. Obinna was standing outside, hands on his head, pacing up and down. Sunday stood beside him, talking to an officer. "Ngozi!" Obinna called when he saw her. She rushed to him. "Where? Where did it happen?" "Aja," he said, voice cracking. "They pulled up in a white Corolla. Took them in seconds. My boys, I shouldn't have brought them." Ngozi grabbed his shoulders. "Listen to me. Did anyone follow the car?" "The guards were too slow. We didn't even get the plate number." She turned to the officer. "Do you have roadblock alerts out?" "We're working on it," he replied. "But there's heavy traffic between here and Lekki. They could be anywhere." Ngozi closed her eyes. She breathed in deeply, then opened them. Her calm voice came out like steel. "I'm going after them." Obinna blinked. "What?" She turned to Sunday. "Do you still have that extra phone charger in your car?" "Yes." "Good, I need your car too." "Full tank?" "Almost." Obinna grabbed her arm. "Ngozi, this is not your job." She looked at him. "Yes, it is. You said it yourself. I'm part of this home." He stared at her for a moment, then nodded slowly. "Be careful." She turned without another word and ran to Sunday's car. Ngozi drove with purpose. Her eyes scanned everything. Every white car, every alley, every checkpoint. Her mind was moving fast. This wasn't just about the boys. This was about everything she had promised to protect. As she drove, she remembered her training. She remembered how they taught her to spot patterns, to stay calm, to act fast. She turned on the police scanner app on her phone and listened. Then she heard it. White sedan spotted near Sangatito with possible child passengers. Vehicle refused to stop. She made a sharp turn and headed straight there. Her heart beat fast, but her hands didn't shake. Not this time. Meanwhile, in the back of a moving car, the twins were crying softly. One of the men shouted, "Shut up!" "Where are you taking us?" Tobe asked, tears running down his cheeks. "Be quiet," Toby whispered to his brother. "Will Auntie Ngozi find us?" Toby held his hand tightly. "She always does." The car slowed down near a bush path. "Let's park here. Wait for the call," one of the kidnappers said. Just then they saw a black car speeding toward them from the opposite direction. "What's that?" "I don't know. Doesn't look like police." They ignored it until it stopped, and Ngozi stepped out. They froze. She walked slowly, her face calm. Her hands were empty, but her eyes were sharp. "Let them go," she said. The man in the front seat stepped out and pointed a gun at her. "Back off! I'll shoot. Ngozi didn't flinch. Go ahead, she said. But if you miss, I won't. Who are you? The man asked. The person you should have never messed with. She moved so fast, the man didn't even blink before she grabbed his wrist, twisted it, and kicked him hard in the chest. He flew back into the bush. The second man jumped out and rushed at her. She ducked, swung her elbow into his ribs, and swept his legs with one strong kick. The third man tried to grab Toby from the back seat, but before he could pull him out, Ngozi reached through the window, grabbed his collar, and slammed his head into the dashboard. The twins screamed, but this time in relief. Auntie Ngozi, Toby cried. I'm here, she said, opening the door. Come, we're going home. She held both their hands, pulled them close, and walked back to the car. As they drove away, the police sirens approached from the distance. She didn't wait for praise, she just drove. Back at the mansion, Chinelo was pacing the living room, her hair loose, her eyes red. Obinna sat on the couch holding his head. The staff stood by the walls, silent, helpless. Then the front gate opened. Ngozi stepped in, holding both boys. Everyone froze. Mummy! The twins shouted, running to Chinelo. She fell to her knees, hugging them so tight it hurt. Tears poured from her eyes. You're okay. You're okay. Obinna stood and walked to Ngozi. He didn't speak. He simply hugged her. It was the first time he had ever done that. Thank you, he whispered. You saved my life. Ngozi's voice was calm. I saved my boys. The house was silent except for the sounds of crying and breathing, and in that moment, everything changed. Forever. The sun rose slowly over Banana Island the next morning, but the Ease mansion was already awake. It had only been hours since the twins returned safely, but everything felt different. The air was thicker, the silence deeper. No one talked loudly, no one rushed around. Even the maids tiptoed as they cleaned. Inside the living room, Obinna sat by the window with a cup of tea he hadn't touched. His mind was still playing back everything. The phone call, the fear, Ngozi's voice. Then her walking through the door like a warrior, holding the twins like nothing had happened. He kept staring at her now as she sat on the couch with the boys asleep on either side of her. They had refused to go upstairs. They held her hands tightly, one on each side, as if letting go meant they would disappear again. Ngozi didn't sleep either. She just sat still, like a soldier who had been through war, but didn't want to close her eyes in case something happened again. Chinelo walked in, her heels making soft taps on the tiles. She was holding her phone in one hand, her robe in place, but her face looked tired. She stopped in front of Ngozi and Obinna, her voice low. They're trending. Obinna looked up. Who? All of us, she said, especially her. She turned her phone screen so they could see. A video had been posted online, shaky but clear. It was from someone at the estate, one of the workers. It showed Ngozi fighting off the kidnappers. The video had already been shared thousands of times. People were commenting, reposting, calling her the super nanny, the real hero, and the woman who fought like a lion. Obinna reached for the phone and scrolled. Then he paused. One of the top comments had shared a picture, a news headline. Former Nigerian soldier loses son in Kaduna blast. Leaves army after tragedy. Obinna's face changed. Chinelo looked away. It's all coming out, he swallowed. She didn't tell us this. She didn't tell us anything, Chinelo said. You let her into our home, around our children, and now strangers on the internet know more about her than we do. Obinna looked at Ngozi, who still hadn't moved. She saved their lives. That doesn't mean she's not hiding things, Chinelo said. Obinna said nothing. Ngozi finally looked up. Her voice was calm. I'm not hiding anything. I just didn't think my story mattered anymore. Chinelo crossed her arms. It matters when you live in someone's house. Obinna held up his hand. Chinelo, she shook her head. I'm not attacking her. I'm just being honest. This family has been through enough. Ngozi slowly stood, gently lifting the boys' heads off her lap and placing pillows under them. She looked at Chinelo. You're right, Mom. I should have told you. I just didn't want to be treated like a broken woman. She paused. I didn't come here looking for pity. I came here to work, to help, to heal. Chinelo's face stayed hard, but her eyes shifted. Obinna said quietly, What happened to your son? Ngozi looked down. Her hands were tight at her sides. Her voice was soft. His name was Chuka. He was 5, just like Toby. He loved toy cars and red shirts. He hated beans but loved moi. We lived in Kaduna. I was stationed there. I was supposed to pick him up from school that day, but a meeting ran late. A bomb went off at the junction near the school gate. She stopped and looked away. I found his shoes. That was all. Silence filled the room. Ngozi blinked quickly and looked back at them. I left the army 2 weeks later. I couldn't carry a gun anymore. I couldn't wear the uniform. I left everything behind and went home. Obina's voice cracked. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't want the job out of pity, she said. I didn't want your children to be a second chance. I just wanted them to be themselves. Chinelo slowly sat down. Her voice was quieter now. Why did you fight those men? You could have died. Ngozi looked at her. Because I saw my son's face in theirs, and I wasn't going to lose another child, not again. The room was quiet. Toby stirred, his eyes opening halfway. Auntie? Ngozi quickly sat beside him again and stroked his hair. Shh. I'm here. Chinelo watched her closely. Then she whispered, I didn't know. Ngozi didn't answer. She just kept holding the twins. Obina stood up. We'll talk later. Right now we rest. By noon, the story had reached the news stations. Reporters stood outside the gate, hoping to catch a glimpse of the mysterious Nanny who had taken down 3 kidnappers. News channels replayed the video every hour, showing Ngozi's calm face and quick moves. People were talking, on the radio, in markets, in offices. They called her brave, fierce, a true Nigerian woman. Inside the mansion, things were quiet again. The boys were awake but clung to Ngozi like glue. They followed her to the kitchen, to the garden, even to the laundry room. If she sat, they sat. If she stood, they stood. Toby asked her once, will they come back? She bent down and looked him in the eyes. No, you're safe now. He nodded and hugged her. Toby joined. She held them both tightly. Obina walked in and saw them. His voice was low. The police want a full report, and the governor sent a message. He wants to meet you. Ngozi sighed. I didn't do it for fame. I know, Obina said, but this country needs hope, and right now, you are that hope. Ngozi didn't smile. I'm just tired, sir. You can rest now, he said. You've done enough. She looked at the twins. Not yet. That evening, Chinelo called her into the study. The room was clean and cold, with long shelves and glass windows. Chinelo was sitting on the couch with her legs crossed. She looked different, less sharp, more tired. Sit, she said. Ngozi sat. I've thought about everything, Chinelo said. The video, the news, your story. Ngozi stayed quiet. Chinelo's voice softened. I judged you too fast. I thought you were trying to take over. I thought you were trying to make my boys love you more than me. Ngozi looked down. I never wanted to replace you. I know that now, Chinelo said. I watched you risk your life for them, and I saw the way they look at you, like they feel safe around you, like you give them something I can't. You give them love too, Ngozi said. They talk about you all the time. Chinelo blinked quickly. I don't know how to connect with them. I try, but I don't know what they need. I never had this growing up. Ngozi reached out slowly and touched her hand. It's not too late. Chinelo's voice cracked. But what if I fail? Then you try again, Ngozi said. Every day, just like you do with work, just like you do with life. Chinelo looked at her. Will you help me? Ngozi smiled. I thought I already was. They both laughed quietly. Chinelo nodded. Thank you. For what? For not giving up on them, and for not giving up on me. Later that night, Obina called a small meeting in the living room. The staff were gathered. The boys were sitting on the floor in front. Chinelo sat beside Ngozi. Obina stood. His voice was calm but strong. This house has gone through a lot, but today I want to thank someone who reminded us what it means to protect what matters. He looked at Ngozi. You came here quietly. You asked for nothing. You did what 12 people couldn't do. You gave us peace, and yesterday, you gave us something even greater. You gave us back our sons. The staff clapped. The twins stood up and pulled Ngozi forward. Obina continued, "From today, you are no longer just a nanny in this house. You are the head of this home. Anyone who needs anything speaks to you first. You have full authority over staff, house matters, and the boys' welfare." Ngozi's eyes widened. "Sir, you earned it," he said. "You didn't just protect my children, you saved this family." Chinello stood. "I agree." The maids clapped again. Mr. Felix wiped a tear from his eye. Toby shouted, "Auntie Ngozi is the boss now." Toby added, "She's our queen soldier." Everyone laughed. Ngozi's heart was full. She didn't expect any of this. She had come into this house hoping to find peace. Instead, she had found something greater. She had found home. That night, she sat by the window again, holding the photo of her late son. She touched his face gently. "I'm keeping my promise," she whispered. "One child at a time." There was a soft knock. Toby peeked in. "Can I sleep here?" She smiled. "Only if Toby joins." Toby came running behind. "Already here." They climbed into bed and cuddled close. Ngozi pulled the blanket over them, her arms around both. For the first time in years, her heart felt light. The scars were still there. The pain hadn't vanished. But in this quiet room, with two small boys breathing beside her, she felt healing. Outside, the city buzzed. The world kept moving, but inside the Ease mansion, a new chapter had begun. And it started with a woman who had lost everything and found purpose in love again. The next morning, the whole house felt new, like someone had opened the windows and let fresh air into every corner. It wasn't just quiet anymore. It was peaceful. From the staff to the twins, everyone moved like they finally belonged to something that made sense. Ngozi stood in front of the mirror in her room, fixing her collar. She didn't wear anything fancy, just a clean shirt tucked into a long skirt. But today felt different. She wasn't just a nanny anymore. She was the one in charge of the house. And somehow the weight didn't scare her. It felt right. Outside her door, the twins waited with their hands behind their backs. When she opened it, they both shouted, "Good morning, Madam General." She burst into laughter. "What is this now?" Toby handed her a stick he had found in the garden. "It's your sword. And this is your crown," Toby said, placing a flower crown on her head. Ngozi knelt down and hugged them both tightly. "You boys are trouble." "No," Toby said, giggling. "We're soldiers now." Ngozi smiled. "Then let's go have breakfast, soldiers." They walked down together, hand in hand. Mr. Felix, the chef, saw them and smiled as he flipped plantains. "My Oga madam is coming," he said loudly. "Make way!" The housemaids clapped and laughed, and for the first time, Ngozi didn't feel like she was walking into someone else's life. She felt like she was walking into her own. At the dining table, Obina sat reading the newspaper. But he wasn't really reading. He kept watching his wife and the twins, noticing something small but important. Chinello was trying. She wasn't scrolling through her phone. She wasn't rushing out for a meeting. She was sitting, really sitting, and listening. "I drew this yesterday," Toby said, holding up a crayon sketch. "That's me, that's Toby, and that's Auntie Ngozi with her superhero arm." Chinello leaned closer. "Is that my hair flying like that?" "No," he giggled. "That's fire." Obina laughed. "Well, that's not too far off." Chinello smiled. "Can I draw with you today?" Toby blinked. "You want to?" "Yes," she said. "If you'll let me." The boys nodded excitedly. "Okay." Obina looked at Ngozi and gave a small nod. She returned it. Something was working. Something was healing. Later that day, while the twins were busy building toy castles, Chinello walked into Ngozi's office. It wasn't really an office, just a small corner room Obina had cleared for her after the promotion. The desk was simple, the shelves half empty, but Ngozi had already placed a small photo of her son on the far corner of the table. It reminded her why she did what she did. Chinello stood at the door holding 2 cups of juice. "May I come in?" Ngozi looked up. "Of course, Ma." Chinello walked in slowly and handed her a cup. "Don't call me Ma, just Chinello is fine." Ngozi smiled. "Okay." Chinello sat across from her and looked around. "So this is where the magic happens?" "Just paper and planning," Ngozi said gently. "Nothing magical." Chinello looked down at her cup. "I never thought I'd say this, but I was wrong about you. Ngozi didn't say anything. She just waited. I thought you were trying to take my place, Chinelo said softly. And I guess I was jealous. Ngozi leaned forward. Chinelo, I didn't come to take your children. I came to help them be better. I know, she nodded, but it wasn't just that. I've always felt like I was failing as a mother. They cried more with me than they laughed. And I didn't know how to fix it. Ngozi's voice was steady. Because you were trying to be perfect. But children don't want perfect. They want presence. Chinelo's eyes welled up. How do I start again? By being there, Ngozi said. One drawing, one story, one hug at a time. Chinelo wiped her tears. Can you help me become the kind of mom they need? Ngozi reached across the table and took her hand. We'll do it together. Later that week, the Ease family did something they had never done before. They went out together. No business meetings, no tight schedules, just the five of them, riding bicycles in the estate's park. Obina laughed like a boy when Toby raced past him. Chinelo held Toby's hand as he tried to balance. Ngozi rode behind them, watching like a mother hawk. People noticed them. Some took pictures, others waved. But for the first time, the Easies didn't care about being watched. They were just happy. At one point, Chinelo stopped and looked back at Ngozi. Do you want to ride beside me? Ngozi smiled. Sure. They rode side by side for a while. Your photo has been everywhere, Chinelo said. I know. They're calling you the woman who made Banana Island human. Ngozi chuckled. That's a big title. Chinelo looked at her. But true. They rode in silence for a few seconds. Then Chinelo asked, What will you do now? You've already changed our family. Ngozi thought for a moment. There are many families still broken. Many children with no one. I want to start something. A foundation. For children like my son. Chinelo nodded. What do you need? Ngozi turned to her. A name and a beginning. Chinelo smiled. How about Hearts of Steel? Ngozi felt her chest tighten. She nodded slowly. That's perfect. Back at home, Obina was already in his study, reading over the proposal. Ngozi had stayed up most nights writing it. Her handwriting was neat, her words were simple, but the heart in the pages could be felt in every line. She had written, There are children who don't need money. They need healing. They need someone to fight for them. This foundation will find them, protect them, raise them into soldiers of love. Obina looked up. It's strong. Ngozi stood quietly. Thank you, sir. He placed the folder down. We'll set up the first outreach next month. I'll get my team on it. Ngozi smiled. I don't want it tied to your company name. Obina nodded. Then it will stand on its own, just as you've always done. A week later, the launch was held quietly in a small hall. There were no banners, no red carpets, just chairs, music, and children. Ngozi stood at the front, holding a microphone with shaky hands. She wasn't used to crowds, but when she saw Toby and Toby smiling at her from the front row, she found her voice. My name is Ngozi, she said. I used to be a soldier. Then I became a nanny. Now I'm just someone trying to help. The room was silent. I lost my son years ago, she continued, but today I'm gaining hundreds more. Applause filled the room. Later, as people came forward to speak to her, offer help, donate, she noticed Chinelo talking to a young mother at the back of the hall. The woman had 2 children beside her. Chinelo knelt down to speak to them, brushing dirt from one boy's cheek. The boy laughed. Ngozi smiled to herself. Healing had truly begun. That night, back at the mansion, Chinelo walked into Ngozi's room holding a small box. What's this? Ngozi asked. Chinelo handed it to her. Open it. Inside was a brand new gold name tag. It read, Ngozi, Head of Home, Heart of Steel. Ngozi touched the words. Her eyes burned. Chinelo said softly, You'll always be part of this family. I already feel like I am. Chinelo hugged her for the first time, and this time Ngozi hugged back. The twins came in moments later, jumping on the bed. We have a surprise, Toby shouted. Toby held up a drawing. It showed the whole family, Obina, Chinelo, the twins, and Ngozi, standing together. You're in the middle, Toby said, because you're the glue. Ngozi pulled them close. Then I'll stick with you forever. They all laughed. From outside, the mansion glowed softly under the moonlight. A house once known for money, now known for something stronger: love. And in the middle of it stood a woman who had seen war, faced loss, and still chose to love again. Ngozi had done the impossible, and now she was finally home. The sky over Lagos was clear that Saturday afternoon, but inside the state banquet hall, all eyes were fixed on the stage. The room was full. Reporters with cameras stood at the back. Uniformed officers, government officials, school children, and families from all over the city had come to see one woman. And in the front row, sitting tall in a simple navy blue gown, was Ngozi. She didn't wear makeup. She didn't have earrings on. But her shoulders were straight, and her hands rested calmly in her lap. Next to her sat Obina in a clean black suit, Chinelo in a fitted green dress, and the twins, dressed in matching white shirts and bow ties, their legs swinging under their chairs. Tobe leaned toward her. "Are you nervous?" Ngozi smiled. "A little." Toby whispered, "Don't worry. If you forget your speech, just shout, 'Soldiers,' and we'll come save you." She laughed softly. "I believe you." At the podium, a tall man in a gray agbada cleared his throat. "Ladies and gentlemen, today we are not here to celebrate a title. We are here to honor a story of courage, a story of love, a story of a woman who did what others were too afraid to do." He paused and turned to the audience. She was a soldier. She became a nanny. She became a mother. And now she is a symbol of what it means to protect with heart and lead with grace. Applause filled the hall. The man looked down at his paper. For her bravery in protecting 2 children from danger, for her service in rebuilding a broken family, and for starting the Hearts of Steel Foundation, which is now changing lives across Lagos and beyond, we present this award, the State Medal of Courage, to Madam Ngozi. The room erupted in claps and cheers. Ngozi stood slowly. She walked to the stage without rushing. Every step was steady. Every eye followed her, not because of the dress she wore or the lights above her, but because of the quiet power she carried in her walk. When she reached the podium, she held the medal in both hands, looked at it for a second, then turned to the crowd. She spoke softly, but the room fell completely silent. "I've been called many names," she began. "Soldier, nanny, hero. But I stand here today, not because I'm different. I stand here because I'm human." She looked at the audience slowly. "Years ago, I lost everything. I lost my son. I lost my career. I lost the will to live. But something inside me said, 'Don't give up. There are still children to protect. There are still lives to hold.'" She paused. "I didn't save those boys because I was strong. I saved them because I understood what it meant to lose a child. And I promised myself I would never stand by and let it happen again." The room was quiet, but many were wiping tears from their eyes. My story is not special. Mothers are fighting every day in silence. Fathers are carrying pain they don't speak about. Children are growing up in houses with no hugs, no soft words, no peace. I didn't fix the world. I just gave what I had, my time, my heart, and my strength. She looked at the twins. And in return, I found healing. She stepped back from the microphone. "This medal is not mine alone. It belongs to every child who still believes in love, and to every person who chooses to protect, even when it's hard." The applause shook the room. The governor stood. People whistled. Some clapped with both hands and feet. Obina had tears in his eyes. Chinelo held her chest. The twins jumped from their seats and ran to the stage. Ngozi bent down, and they hugged her tightly. "We're proud of you," Toby whispered. "You're the best hero ever," Toby added. She smiled through her tears. "You two saved me first." That night, the E's mansion was full of music, food, and people. It wasn't a loud party. It was a celebration full of warmth. Staff laughed. Old friends dropped by. Neighbors greeted Ngozi like she was royalty. In the middle of the compound stood a large banner. "Congratulations, Ngozi. Our hero, our family, our heart." Under it stood the woman herself, trying not to cry as everyone took turns hugging her. Mr. Felix brought out a large chocolate cake. "You saved the house, madam. At least let me spoil you small." Ngozi laughed. "Just give me the corner piece." Chinelo pulled her aside later. "Come, I want to show you something." She led her to one of the guest rooms. Inside, there were piles of new books, toys, clothes, and shelves already fixed to the walls. Ngozi blinked. "What is this?" "For the children," Chinelo said. "From the foundation. This will be the first safe room for rescued kids. We'll build more later. But this one starts here." Ngozi turned and hugged her. "Thank you." "No," Chinelo said. "Thank you for showing me how to mother again." Outside, Obinna was talking with Sunday. "I can't believe how far we've come," Obinna said, sipping his drink. Sunday nodded. It all changed the day she walked in with her small bag and quiet eyes. "She came for a job," Obinna said, "and gave us a new life." Then Obinna looked at Sunday. "Let's build her dream properly, not just with money. Let's give her land, resources, and a team. She's done enough on her own." Sunday smiled. "She deserves it." Later that night, after the guests had left and the staff had gone to bed, the house was quiet again. Ngozi stood in the twins' room, watching them sleep. Their soft breaths, their arms wrapped around each other. Two small boys who once poured juice on the floor, now resting like angels. Obinna stood behind her. "They love you like a second mother." Ngozi turned. "They're part of me now." He nodded. "You'll never have to do this alone again." She smiled. "I know." He looked at her for a long moment. "We were broken. You put us back together." "I just reminded you what love looks like," she said. He shook his head. "No, you showed us what love does." The next morning, the twins burst into her room carrying their toy swords. "Wake up, Madam General," she laughed. "What now?" "We're going to fight crime," Toby shouted. "And save kids," Toby added. Ngozi stretched and stood tall. "Then let's get ready. We have work to do." As the sun rose higher over the mansion, as the day opened up with hope and noise and breakfast smells, Ngozi stepped out into the world again. Not just as a nanny, not just as a soldier, but as a woman who made the impossible completely possible.